Your vision is getting worse while you sleep. Here's the one fruit that fights back. Most people assume that blurry vision, dry, scratchy eyes, and squinting at every menu in a dim restaurant are just the normal tax of getting older. And they accept it. They hold things at arm's length. They tell whoever they're with that the restaurant lighting is genuinely terrible. This works until they're eating alone. Here's what nobody told you. Your retina is repairing itself every single night while you sleep, and one specific fruit eaten before bed gives it exactly what it needs to do that job. The fruit is blueberries, and the timing changes everything. This is Bright Future Health, educational only. Always consult your holistic eye doctor, especially if symptoms are changing rapidly. Your retina contains two types of photoreceptors: rods for low light and peripheral vision, and cones for color and detailed central vision. Both depend on a continuous supply of antioxidants to function, and both are under oxidative assault every single day from screens, sunlight, and the general business of being awake. Night is when the repair happens. What you eat before sleep determines how well that repair goes. Point number 1, Rhodopsin. The night vision pigment. Your eyes are rebuilding right now. This is the one that will make you look at blueberries differently for the rest of your life. Your retina contains a pigment called rhodopsin. It's the chemical your rod photoreceptors use to see in low light. Rhodopsin is what lets you walk to the bathroom at 3 a.m. without turning on every light in the house and blinding yourself. It's what makes headlights manageable on a dark road rather than spectacular light shows that temporarily erase your central vision. The problem is that rhodopsin breaks down every time it absorbs light, which is constantly, and it has to be rebuilt from scratch every night in the dark. British RAF pilots discovered in World War II that eating bilberry jam, bilberries are the European cousin of blueberries, before night missions dramatically improved their visual performance in low light. The military paid attention. The compound responsible was anthocyanin, and it works by accelerating rhodopsin regeneration in the rod cells of your retina. What this means for you? A handful of blueberries, fresh, frozen, or unsweetened dried, eaten 1 to 2 hours before bed gives your rod photoreceptors the anthocyanin they need to rebuild rhodopsin during overnight darkness. This is not a supplement protocol. This is a fruit. Before bed, that's it. Point number 2, macular degeneration, the silent thief. Your blueberries can actually slow down. Okay, so here's the thing about macular degeneration. And I want to explain this without triggering a panic, because it's serious, but it's also a condition where what you eat genuinely matters. The macula is the small central area of your retina responsible for everything you use your vision for intentionally: reading, driving, recognizing faces, threading a needle, watching television. Think of it as the high-definition section of your eye's camera sensor. Age-related macular degeneration, AMD, is when the cells in this section begin to deteriorate from accumulated oxidative damage. The American Optometric Association considers it one of the leading causes of vision loss in people over 60. A study published in JAMA Ophthalmology in 2023 found that people who consumed higher amounts of blueberries and anthocyanins had significantly reduced rates of total AMD. Not marginally reduced, significantly. The mechanism is straightforward. Anthocyanins are among the most potent antioxidants available in whole food form, and the macula is under constant oxidative stress from blue light, inflammation, and normal metabolic activity. Anthocyanins mop up the oxidative damage before it accumulates into structural deterioration. What this means for you: your macula is running a nightly cleanup operation. Blueberries before sleep are essentially sending in reinforcements. The 2023 JAMA study is not a small pilot study. It followed a large cohort of women over years. That's the kind of data worth taking seriously. Point number 3, lutein and zeaxanthin, the sunscreen inside your eye. And get this, blueberries don't just have anthocyanins. They also contain lutein and zeaxanthin, which are the two compounds that no eye supplement label is complete without, and that almost nobody eats enough of from actual food. Lutein and zeaxanthin are carotenoids, natural pigments, and they're the only carotenoids that are specifically deposited in the retina and lens of the eye. They concentrate in the macula and serve as a natural internal sunscreen, filtering out the high-energy blue light wavelengths that cause cumulative photoreceptor damage. Think of them as the polarized lenses your eye grew itself, except they only work if you keep providing the raw material to maintain them. Every hour you spend on a screen is burning through your macular pigment. Every blueberry you eat before bed is contributing to restoring it. The National Eye Institute has specifically identified lutein and zeaxanthin as nutrients with protective effects against both cataracts and AMD. What this means for you? The macular pigment that lutein and zeaxanthin build up acts as a permanent internal blue light filter. No glasses required, no apps required, just a dietary habit, eaten consistently before bed when absorption is optimized by the body's reduced activity and improved gut transit. Quick pause. Drop a comment below and tell me about your eye health experience. Are you dealing with blurry vision, dry eyes, or nighttime glare that makes driving feel like a special effects sequence? And have you ever been told by a naturopathic doctor or holistic optometrist to change your diet for your eyes, or has that conversation never actually happened? I read every comment. 3 more points coming, including the bonus one that most eye health videos never even mention. Point number 4, dry eyes aren't a moisture problem. They're an inflammation problem. Look, if you've been using eye drops for dry eyes and wondering why you still have dry eyes, here's the part nobody tells you. Dry eyes are primarily an inflammatory condition, not a moisture deficiency. The lacrimal glands, the tear-producing organs, are being suppressed by chronic low-grade inflammation in the eye tissue. Artificial tears treat the symptom. Anti-inflammatory compounds treat the cause. Anthocyanins from blueberries have documented anti-inflammatory activity specifically in eye tissue. They inhibit the same inflammatory pathways that suppress tear production and irritate the conjunctiva. A study found that patients with dry eye syndrome who supplemented with anthocyanins showed measurable improvement in tear secretion and tear film stability. Your eyes were not running low on artificial lubricant. They were running low on the antioxidants that keep their own natural lubrication system functioning. What this means for you: if you have dry eyes and you're not eating anthocyanin-rich foods regularly, you are addressing the symptom while leaving the cause entirely alone. Add blueberries before bed. Give it 3 weeks. Pay attention to how your eyes feel on waking. That's the most direct window into what happened overnight. Point number 5. The blood vessels in your eyes are narrower than a human hair, and blueberries are protecting them. Here's where it gets wild. And this is the mechanism most eye health content skips entirely because it sounds like a cardiovascular fact, but is actually an eye fact. The retina has one of the highest metabolic rates of any tissue in the human body. It demands a continuous high-quality blood supply through an extraordinarily fine network of capillaries, many of which are narrower than a single red blood cell, which has to physically deform itself to squeeze through. When these capillaries weaken, leak, or become blocked, the photoreceptors they supply start dying from oxygen and nutrient starvation. This is the mechanism behind diabetic retinopathy, hypertensive retinopathy, and a significant portion of vision loss that gets filed under age-related deterioration. Anthocyanins specifically strengthen capillary walls by stabilizing collagen and reducing vascular permeability. They make those tiny blood vessels more resilient and less likely to leak, which means more oxygen and glucose reaching the photoreceptors that power your vision. What this means for you: every blueberry you eat is contributing to the structural integrity of the blood vessels that are literally feeding your photoreceptors. This is not a metaphor. Your visual acuity depends on capillaries that are narrower than your hair, and you can reinforce them with fruit before bed. Point number 6. Cataracts. Your lens is slowly frosting over, and antioxidants are the defrost. And yes, blueberries address this too, which at this point should no longer surprise you. A cataract is what happens when the crystalline lens inside your eye, the structure that focuses light onto your retina, accumulates enough oxidative protein damage that it begins to cloud. Think of it as your eye's lens slowly frosting over, like a bathroom window in winter. Except the defrost isn't heat, it's antioxidants. Research has shown that anthocyanin intake is inversely associated with cataract risk. A 2023 cohort study found modest but significant protective associations between dietary anthocyanin intake and cataract incidence. The mechanism: anthocyanins reduce the glycation, the sugar-protein cross-linking, and oxidative damage that accumulates in the lens proteins over decades. The lens has no blood supply and no way to repair itself once clouded. Prevention is the only strategy. And prevention in this case tastes like blueberries. What this means for you: cataracts are not inevitable. They're the accumulated result of oxidative damage over time, which means every day you reduce that oxidative load is a day the frosting process slows. Blueberries before bed, consistently, for years. That's what prevention looks like. Point number 7, darkness plus omega-3, the overnight eye repair stack. Nobody combines. This one turns the blueberry into part of a complete overnight protocol rather than a standalone snack. First, eat your blueberries with a small amount of fat, a teaspoon of olive oil, a few walnuts, or half an avocado. Lutein and zeaxanthin are fat-soluble. Without dietary fat, your gut absorbs a fraction of what the blueberry provides. The fat is not optional. It's the delivery mechanism. Second, sleep in genuine darkness, not pretty dark. Dark enough that you cannot see your hand in front of your face. Rhodopsin regeneration, the night vision rebuild from point 1, only happens in complete darkness. Any light exposure during sleep suppresses rhodopsin synthesis and interrupts the repair cycle. Blackout curtains are not a luxury for shift workers. They are an eye health intervention. And third, if you're over 60 and not taking omega-3 fatty acids, specifically DHA, your photoreceptor cell membranes are running on a compromised structural material. The rods and cones in your retina have cell membranes that are more than 50% DHA by composition. Without adequate DHA, those membranes become less fluid and less functional. Blueberry anthocyanins protect the cells. DHA builds the cells. They work as a system, and most people are only addressing one piece. What this means for you: tonight's protocol is blueberries with fat, a capsule of omega-3 DHA, and sleeping in genuine darkness. Cost of the whole stack, less than a cup of coffee. Potential benefit: your retina's doing the repair work they've been trying to do every night for years. Opinion time. And I say this with warmth, humor, and a very specific kind of frustration. In my opinion, and I hold this opinion with the kind of conviction that comes from looking at the research and then looking at the price tag on a standard ophthalmology appointment, it is genuinely remarkable what one small bowl of blueberries eaten consistently before bed can do for your eyes. Anthocyanin for rhodopsin regeneration, lutein and zeaxanthin for macular pigment, anti-inflammatory compounds for tear production, capillary strengthening activity for blood supply to photoreceptors, oxidative protection against cataract formation, 5 different mechanisms, 1 fruit before bed. Tonight, the eye care industry will sell you a $40 supplement bottle with the same compounds listed on the label, and they work, but the bioavailability of those nutrients from whole blueberries eaten with fat is significantly higher than most isolated supplements. Your gut processes food differently than it processes a capsule, and the synergistic compounds in the whole fruit produce effects the extracted components often don't fully replicate. You are, in the most literal sense, receiving pharmaceutical-grade antioxidant delivery in a form your body was designed for the price of the fresh produce section. And here's the thing that I find most meaningful about this specific video topic. Vision loss is one of the most feared health outcomes in older adults. More feared than many diseases that are objectively more dangerous, because vision connects you to people, to faces, to books, to the world outside your window. The idea of losing it gradually, silently, while you sleep, without knowing what to do about it, is genuinely frightening. And the answer to that fear is, to an extent that should embarrass the pharmaceutical industry, a bowl of blueberries before bed. So eat the blueberries, consistently, tonight. Your retinas have been waiting. All right, 6 reasons your blueberries need to start sleeping with you. Rhodopsin regeneration, the night vision pigment your rod cells rebuild every night, requiring anthocyanins to do it properly. Macular degeneration protection, JAMA 2023 confirmed significantly reduced AMD rates with regular blueberry intake. Lutein and Zeaxanthin, the internal sunscreen your macula uses to filter blue light, requires dietary replenishment. Dry eye reduction, the anti-inflammatory mechanism that restores your own tear production rather than supplementing it with drops. Capillary protection, the blood vessels narrower than a human hair that feed your photoreceptors need anthocyanin reinforcement nightly. And cataract prevention, slowing the lens frosting that can only be prevented, not reversed. Remember where we started, the dim restaurant, the arm's-length menu, the blame placed on the lighting when the problem was actually the retina. Here's your challenge. Eat a small handful of blueberries, fresh, frozen, or unsweetened, with something containing a little fat before bed, every night for 14 days. Notice what changes in your night driving, your morning eye comfort, and your ability to adjust between different light environments. Then come back and tell me in the comments what shifted. I want to hear specifically about the nighttime driving and the morning dryness, because those are the two things that change fastest and most noticeably. I read every comment. Subscribe if you haven't already. New content every week at Bright Future Health. Share this with someone who is quietly accepting vision changes they were told were inevitable. The restaurant lighting isn't terrible. Your retina just needed blueberries. Starting tonight, give it what it was asking for.